Hello to everyone and very warm greetings to all of you. Myself, Dr. Priyanka Mukherjee. I would be discussing about the topic of utilization of algae as diet for different fishes. Now, why is this particular topic so important? Because as we all know, algae are rich in different bioactive compounds and we can efficiently use this algae as feed for different ornamental as well as edible fishes. And as we all know, aqua farming is very important from the point of a country's economy, as this particular field earns a lot of revenue for the country. So let's see what the next slides deal with. Thank you.
Now we have to know what are algae. Algae are defined as microscopic, unicellular or multicellular, simple or filamentous, branched or unbranched photosynthetic organisms that can grow in salt or freshwater conditions. Algae are cosmopolitan in nature, that is, they can grow in wide ranges of habitats. The worldwide production of algae annually is very high and it has been estimated approximately 5 million kg per year. So from this particular data, we can well understand that how comfortably we can receive algae from different parts of this world, especially different parts of West Bengal, and how we can utilize them in various fields of biotechnology. Furthermore, chemically, algae are rich sources of various biologically active substances such as protein, amino acids, long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, microelements, vitamins, antioxidants, and carotenoids. Now, since they are rich sources of such beautiful collections of biologically active substances, they have retained long history of application in the field of food for humans, poultry, livestock, in the field of folk medications, as well as in the field of nutraceuticals. As already mentioned, algae are good sources of different bioactive compounds comprising of macronutrients consisting of protein, carbohydrates and lipids, and essential and non-essential amino acids, pigments, polysaccharides, phenols, etc., which are considered to be pharmacologically, nutraceutically and biotechnologically very useful. Now, in this particular slide, we will be discussing about the graphical representation that has been taken from the review whose name has been mentioned below in the slide. The graph beautifully represents different genera of algae, whether green or red or cyanobacteria, which are rich sources of protein, carbohydrates and lipids. The macronutrient contents can vary among different members. It's not always same. Like if you like the protein content you can find in spirulina may be different from that of chlorella, may be different from that of Cynidesmus. But in total, they have the percentage of protein that or carbohydrate or lipids have been noted to be considerably high among the different members of algae. Thus, the rapid growth of algae, their cosmopolitan nature, their richness in different bioactive compounds, limited seasonal variations, easy availability have promoted their use in various biotechnological fields. There has been several reviews or scholarly articles which have been dealing with the use of algae in different biotechnological fields, and from those reviews we have collected the names of some commonly used cyanobacterial or algal genera which has been used in the field of biotechnology, such as chlorella, dunellella, hematococcus, ulva, laminaria, porphyra, sargassum, gracilaria, spirulina, lyngbia, etc. So these are different cyanobacterial and algal genera that are very commonly used nowadays in different fields of biotechnology. West Bengal is considered to be the hub of various algal genera. West Bengal has a collection of different climatological conditions such as mountain regions, intercontinental climate, hot and dry, rare climatic condition, as well as breezy, moist, coastal climatic conditions. These variations in the climatological conditions along with different water conditions such as fresh water, brackish water, salt water, facilitates the growth of various algal species ranging from cyanobacteria to green, red, brown, different algal species throughout the entire state. These slides represent the pictorial demonstrations, or these are the pictorial representations of some commonly found green algal species as well as some freshwater phytoplankton species collected from different parts of the West Bengal. Now the questions that keep on coming to our minds are where we would find algae, and even if we find them, can we grow them by ourselves? These are some of the photographs of different algal ponds of West Bengal. I think this is a very common scene that we tend to find by the roadsides while we are traveling. Algae can grow in blooming conditions, or they can be present in small amounts remaining associated with the substratum at the bottom of the ponds or at the bottom of any water-filled region. Or they can also be found in floating conditions on the surface. Not only in ponds, we can find them to be present in any small waterlogged body or waterlogged puddle, or even near hand pumps. We can even find them just at our backyards in the local drains. Now, the second question lies, can we grow them? Obviously, we can. But prior to the growth of algae, we have to collect these algal specimens from their habitat, but we should not affect the biodiversity. We should clean them properly under running tap water, and then we should try to grow them in vitro either in laboratory conditions, or we can even grow them in our household structures. Here I have two pictures. One is the photo of an algal tank where small scale mass production of algal genus have been done using commercial salts. The other picture is showing how a couple has grown spirulina in a tumbler. Now, the most important thing that lies for growth of algae is the application of the nutrients in a proper amount, or a proper utilization of nutrient medium, which basically helps the growth of algae. Now, how do we determine that which salts should be used for the growth of or the mass production of algae? Or in how much amount do we add those salts to grow these algae? For that reason, we have to first collect water from the body from where we are collecting or from where we are selecting our algae. We have to do biochemistry, or basically the constituent, we have to do the constituent or the study of the constituents that are present in the water where we are collecting our algae from, and that we can do or we can test the quality of the water from the nearby lab or from any chemical laboratories. After quantification or estimation of the nutrient quality of the water, we have to measure the pH as well as the salinity of the water. And once we have done all these, we can formulate the nutrient medium by ourselves by adding definitive amount of all the different nutrients that have been present in the pond water or other lake water or the water body from where algae has been collected. And if we can manipulate the nutrient medium, we can easily grow them under normal household conditions. The commercial applications of algae comprise of use of different algal species in various fields of biotechnology such as aquaculture, biodiesel, pharmaceuticals, pollution control, single cell protein, fertilizers, animal nutrition and food industry. In the field of aquaculture, algae has found their usage as feed for different fishes, crustaceans, mollusks, etc. Studies through years have shown utilization of algae as biodiesel because of their high lipids and oil contents. Pharmaceutically as well as nutraceutically, algae have gained usage because of their high bioactive compound contents. Presently, polysaccharides, phenols, pigments are very commonly used as drugs for treating various diseases such as degenerative disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, etc. Spirulina has long been used as the source of single cell protein because of its high protein content. Algae are very commonly used as fertilizers because of their nitrogen fixing capacity. They are also widely used as food for cattle, livestock, hens. The most biotechnologically used algae are Spirulina, Chlorella, Dunaliella, Haematococcus, Porphyra, Spirogyra, Enteromorpha, etc. So therefore, we can use algae in different fields of biotechnology. Now, in this presentation, we would be discussing about how algae can be used in the field of aquaculture. But prior to that, we need to know what is aquaculture. It is also known as aqua farming, and as the name suggests, it is the rearing of freshwater or saltwater or marine populations of aquatic organisms ranging from fish, crustaceans, mollusks to aquatic plants under controlled environmental conditions. Now, aqua farming was first initiated as early as 6000 BC by the indigenous Gunditjmara people in Victoria, Australia, who basically converted several thousand square kilometers of volcanic floodplains in the vicinity of Lake Condo into complex of channels or dams where they could trap or capture fishes like eels and preserve them to be eaten all year round. Since our study is concerned with fish aquaculture, we will be concentrating on fish. Now, fish aquaculture are of two types. One, farming of ornamental fishes. Second, farming of edible fishes. Both are very important to the world's economy. Why? Because they earn the country's lofty revenues. Almost 65% or more export of fishes come from Asia. Therefore, from the point of economy, this is a very important topic that needs to be discussed. Though good revenues are obtained by trading edible fishes, but ornamental fishes also are heavily marketed. Ornamental fish rearing further is of two categories which are being marketed. One, the exotic ornamental fish. The exotic fish dominates the domestic market. Already 288 exotic varieties have been recorded in Indian market. The second one is native fish, where more than 200 species of the freshwater fishes are being bred in different parts of India and are being marketed. Now, from marketing point of view, what are the aspects that have to be kept in mind? Firstly, for edible fish trading, the market value depends upon their carcass quality, their nutrient contents, their fish oil quality, the time of oil rancidity, the content of omega-3, 6 fatty acids, along with their tests and prices. But in case of ornamental fishes, the factors are slightly different. Here, fish skin colorations, health and lifespan play very important roles. The skin coloration here determines both the quality of the fish and the market price. We see beautiful colors, but the pigmentations or skin colorations of fishes play very important roles in their livelihoods. Fishes use their colors for signaling during courtship, mating, camouflage. But it is very sad that they cannot synthesize their own colors. They depend on the pigment contents of the feed which they are being fed on. Pigments that can bring beautiful colorations to the fishes are porphyrins, pteridins, melanins and carotenoids. The carotenoids, hence obtained from feed, enter into the cellular system of fishes through certain specific gated ion channels. Once into the cytosol, the carotenoids get esterified. After esterification, a part of their esterified carotenoids act as integumentary carotenoids and gets stored in specialized cells in the fishes present beneath their scales known as chromatophores. And this basically imparts beautiful or brilliant skin coloration to the ornamental fishes. The other part of the carotenoids enter through the lipoprotein channels into the fish liver and increases their growth rate, reproductive efficiency and immunity. Presently, there are some major constraints which are being faced in aqua farming with the utilization of commercial feed as the form of diet in the fishes. First is the high price of market available commercial feed. Second, the detrimental effect of synthetic pigment incorporation in or injection in the colored fishes, which are deteriorating the health as well as the lifespan of the fishes. The commercial feed also spoils the quality of the water, therefore the fishes become susceptible to various fungal and bacterial infections. Due to these constraints, partial or full replacement of the commercial feed with algae-based diet has become very important and majorly discussed topic nowadays. So can algae replace commercial feed? Obviously, or yes, they can surely do so. There are several works which are showing the uses of different algae as fish meal. Works of Borowiska, Naguib, Rengel, etc. They have shown Isochrysis, Pavlova, Chitoceras and other algal genera to be rich sources of several bioactive compounds and to play very important roles as feed ingredients for fishes. Other workers have also revealed that green algae, Haematococcus pluvialis, to be the major sources of carotenoids and lycopene, which can be extracted from them and efficiently used as alternative to synthetic pigments in red porgy. A green algae, ulva containing good vitamin mineral pigment profiles, have found its usage as a potent feed ingredient for a wide range of fish species. Further studies have also shown incorporation of cladophora and spirulina in fish feed for the enhancement of their carotenoid content as well as increase in the immunity as studied in case of catfish. There are also several studies that have gradually shown the usage of different algae such as ulva, Cytocera, chlorella, etc. as efficient color elicitors in cichlid fish, rainbow trout, tetrads, prawns, Nile, tilapia, etc., where these algae have found a very efficient role as feed ingredient. Now, my next slides show how algae can be collected and used in the formulation of aquaculture-based feed. The first pictures show the algal biomass collection from different sites of West Bengal. We can also grow them at our household, as I have already mentioned. After collection, they need to be properly washed, sun-dried, powdered using mortar and pestle or any grass cutter or mixer, whatever according to our convenience. The powder of algae or the algal powder is then to be mixed in definitive ratio. Now this ratio further varies from species to species, depends upon the nutrient content of algae, their acceptability by the fishes. Further, pelletization of the algal mix is to be done for further application as feed for fishes. Then, after pelletization, the nutrient quality assessment of the prepared feed is to be carried out to select the best feeded diet for the fish of our choices. Now, this is the graphical representation showing the nutritional parameters that were estimated or that are generally estimated while we are evaluating particular feed that are basically formulated in contrast to the commercial feed that are being used. Now, what are the nutritional parameters that are seen? That is total protein content, lipid content, phenol content, flavonoids, carotenoids, carbohydrate, DPPH radical scavenging activity. We can add on many other parameters also, but these are the preliminary parameters that are generally used to determine the efficacy or the nutrient content of the feeds that we are using or that we are supposed to use in a particular experimentation. This particular data has been selected from the paper whose reference has been given just below at the bottom of the particular slide. Now, from the graphical representation we can generally see, or it is very much evident, that with partial incorporation of the algae based feed with the commercial feed, or by the partial supplementation of the algae based feed with the commercial feed, basically there is considerably increase in the protein, lipid, phenols or the secondary metabolite contents, carbohydrate contents, flavonoid contents, and from this particular data it is evident enough that the algae based feed or algae supplemented feed can be generally used for the increasing the efficiency of the edible fishes or in case of ornamental fish. So if we supplement the commercial feed with a certain percentage of the algae based feed, this will prove to be very much efficient in the different types of the rearing programs that are going throughout the world. My next slides are showing the various methodologies by which the formulated feed after preparation can be used to feed the fishes. Now, the feeding program varies from the type of the fishes being reared. In case of edible fish rearing, generally what happens, a pond or large aquatic bodies contain different varieties of edible fishes together. Some are bottom feeders, while some are middle feeders, and the rest are surface feeders. So we need to keep in mind that the application of the fish feeds to these fishes should be at different level to make it clear that all the fishes can feed on the feed that has been provided. So, while application of the feed in case of edible fishes, it should be kept in mind that the feed are applied at every level. In this particular photograph, a bamboo-based applicator is shown which can be used to feed fishes at different levels. In case of ornamental fishes, the feed application is slightly different because over here only a single variety or single species is being reared within a single tank or single wherry. So the application is only at a specific level. Therefore, no feed applicators, or even if the applicators are used over here, then that should be enough for feeding a particular fish at that particular level at which it generally feeds. Now, for both edible and ornamental varieties, the binder is very important because the binder is something that helps to keep the feed intact or that helps to keep the feed in the pellet form. Now, what is a binder? A binder is anything that is sticky in nature. It can be wheat binder, it can be wheat gum, or it can be rice binders, or rice, the boiled rice can be used as a binder, or we can use as chira as the mode of binding. Now, generally, the selection of the feed binders depend on the density of the water, the fish that are being fed, and also the duration up to which we want to keep the feed in a pelleted form. Before all the experimentation, or before the beginning of the experimentation or application of the feed to the to the edible fishes or to the ornamental fishes, shelf life or the time up to which the feed remains good should also be considered, and this is also a very important point which should be kept in mind. Okay, so now my next slide is showing the preparation of the feed for the ornamental fishes. Now, while we are preparing the feed for the ornamental fishes, it should be kept in mind that the fishes or the ornamental fishes are very delicate and they have a good sense of preference and good sense of taste. So they won't accept all the feed, and even if you make the feed just like that, they won't accept it. So for their acceptance, proper care should be taken. Now, in case of ornamental fish feeding, what is the main point that has to be kept in mind? That generally after the formulation of the total algal feed, it needs to be mixed with or supplement, or the control feed that we select over here is generally the most commonly used on the particular control feed or the commercial feed that is being used for the particular ornamental fish that is being reared. Now, after the selection of the controlled feed or the commercial feed, we are supplementing it at various proportions or definitive proportions that can be 25% or 50% or 75% with the total algal feed. After the formulation of all these different type of the feed preparations, now this is the pictorial representation of a particular experimentation where we are applying, or we have already applied the different types of the feed to the aquarium where goldfish is being reared, and from the pictorial representation it is well evident that the fishes are attracted towards the feed that has been applied to them. So for ornamental fish rearing, delicate nature, or rather the feed that we are basically using should be easily digestible, and priorly or preliminary a trial should be carried out to see the acceptability of the feed by the fishes. My next slide basically shows that how the effect of the feed acts, or what is the effect of the feed on the particular experimental fishes that they are being fed on. Now, we can well see that it is evident enough that with the incorporation of the algae based feed in their diet, there is considerable increase in the protein, in the carbohydrate and in the carotenoid level. Now, this particular data has been selected from the paper whose name has been mentioned here. This is basically determining the fish carcass quality of the ornamental fish, that is goldfish, and therefore it is just a data which basically shows that how beautifully the fishes are being fed on the algae based feed, and how efficient the algae based feed are in increasing their rate of pigmentation, in increasing their protein content, in increasing the carbohydrate content. There are many studies, and these particular authors have also studied that there is a considerable increase in the immunity level in the fishes which are being fed on the algae supplemented diets, and the lipid peroxidation or the other peroxidation levels are considerably lower in the fishes fed with the algae diet as compared to the controlled fish. So from that particular data, it is evident enough, or from that particular knowledge, it is evident enough that the feed the algae based feed are good for their health. Furthermore, it is also seen, or various studies have shown, that the mortality rate of the particular fishes being fed on the algae supplemented diet is also very minimum, and as compared to the controlled diet. So controlled diet can be easily supplemented with different proportions of the algae based diet, and that particular proportion generally varies with the type of the fish species that we are using, or with the type of the ornamental or edible fish species that we are basically using.
So before, I would like to say goodbye to you and thank you for your patient hearing to whatever I wanted to say today. I would like to give some take-away messages. 1. Algae are cosmopolitan in nature, and they can thrive through various stressful conditions due to the production of several primary and secondary metabolites. These primary and secondary metabolites produced within the algal cell can be efficiently used in different biotechnological fields for the formulation of feed for aquacultural organisms, or for pharmaceuticals or nutraceuticals, or as feed for cattle and other livestock, or as functional food for providing health and immunity to human beings. So please do not throw them away, do not waste them, or do not affect their biodiversity, and please grow and collect algae from their natural habitat in a limited quantity and utilize them in various biological or biotechnological aspects. Algae are rich in biologically active compounds, and therefore they can efficiently be used at a definitive proportion for feeding different aquaculture based organisms, especially fishes. You can apply algae based feed in not only edible fishes but also in rearing ornamental fishes. So it is my earnest request that please do preserve or conserve our ecosystem and utilize all the things that God have blessed us with. Thank you.